Something I've wanted to address for a while has been the mud flood topic, Tartaria, Phoenicians, which has been around long before I even opened this channel, believe it or not. Some of you think it's new, but it's not. I've made one video on it about 3.5 years ago. Reason why I've never covered it, because people are always asking me. And I won't ever cover it, right, because it's something I didn't discover myself. It's been covered before many a times, like I said years ago, right? But what I do want to get into, I'm not going to mention any names, but I am sick to death of YouTube lately. I've noticed just hundreds and hundreds of channels just putting out the same information. Even, because some of it's decent, I still wouldn't cover it, but it's just the same videos putting out the same information in a slightly different way and just getting thousands and thousands of views on it. I'm sick of it. I'm not bothered about the views, right? I'm not going to mention names, but I do want to just point out a few things, and then you'll know that's the reason why I don't cover this topic, okay? Like I've shown before with that black and white image, in my opinion, from what the quick research I did on this, the word Tartaria, Tartary, means nothing more than a territory. I know many of you lot will disagree with that. You've been researching it for a long time. I see your comments, right? But it definitely does mean territory unexplored when these maps were made, and most of them have been updated. I'm pretty sure many of them have been remodeled, put out to run alongside this narrative to make the work that I'm kind of doing, and maybe even people that's looking into this stuff also look stupid, right? They co-opt every single topic, don't they? And I'm seeing it more than ever at this moment in time. And I'm not sorry for what I'm saying here, right? But the things like incubator babies, these world famous sites, do you really think that they have the technology? Well, what it's suggesting is that they were cloning babies, right, and handing them out to people. It's just ridiculous. It's a show. It's like going to the fairground, right? They were coming up with new technologies. I mean, it was pretty garbage, right? But they were just putting out ideas for the future, right? Like they were creating new models of cars. That's all it is. And these trains, these orphan trains, what you're talking about there, that these orphan babies had been created and then stored somewhere, and then they were shipping these children off to be indoctrinated to populate these cities that they redug out of the ground. That's the type of information that I hear. Obviously, the whole clone thing depends on, well, what you've got is humans with all different skin color and different facial features. Obviously, we're not talking about billions of different clones, are we? I can't tell you what life is, right? But it's nothing to do with cloning. Child workforces, the child workforce today, look, it's hard for me to say this, but not everything from history is completely fake, right? Especially things from what I would deem, the last 100, the last 200 years, where when I was growing up, my great granddad was still alive and he could remember his grandfather, right? You've got to be careful with this stuff because we're beginning to make ourselves look stupid. Now, if you want to believe that the images that I've just been showing are real and not just some stupid artwork for some reason, that's up to you, but I won't be putting it on my channel. Two things here that I want to show you. This image here with these three giants, I'm going to zoom in on the one on the right hand side now. You know when you go to the beach and there's a hole for you to stick your head through and it makes you look like that you're somewhere else. If you look at this guy here, can you see how square his shoulders are and how thin his chest is, right? Almost like he's stood behind it, to make him look like a giant. I'm not 100% sure on that. I just find it strange. I can't really zoom in any closer, but I can show you something that is fake. And this gets into when I'm speaking about you've got to be careful what you pull off the internet, right? Especially when they're trying to take over a movement, right? And co-opt something. Now, take a close look at this image here with this fork truck. It's apparently about to place a car on it or take one off, right? I want you to look at the framework on it. Just look at it. There's nothing bracing up the sides, right? Or if he removed that car, would it just completely lob over to one side? This image is fake as it gets, right? So when I start showing you these here, maybe they did have some of these, right? But it's not, you know, it's not something that they had only 100 or so years ago that suddenly vanished from some reset, right? That we know nothing about, but yet we've got family members that lived through that period. Maybe there was something like this somewhere. If there was, I would say it was only a gimmick, right? The technology wasn't around properly, you know, to start putting this thing out. This one here, the one on the right, I know that is real, right? But it wasn't some kind of Ferris wheel contraption. It was just something to advertise this actual car lot that didn't move. There's been a lot of work done on the church windows. I've heard over the last few years that they were playing these organs to heal people of the towns and cities through these round windows. Yes, vibration shapes and things like that. I couldn't put anything out like that. You know, it's not something that I would put out. It's interesting, you know. But what I will say on what gets me is how they keep saying that all these places have all been knocked down, right, to hide the civilization from only 100 to 200 years ago. That this cataclysm only happened 200-300 years maximum, right? That's how old we all are. Well, everything was mainly built from brick then, right? And that's the reason why they had to knock all these places down, right? We might not build as beautiful now, but we build things to last longer because we're mostly building with reinforced concrete, okay, and iron girders, steel girders, right? A lot of that stuff had to be pulled down because it was built from brick, right? If you knock one side of it down, then it basically pulls the entire thing down. There's nothing holding it up. There's no framework, okay? There's no skeleton to it, really. And it has to be repointed, and if it doesn't get repointed or suffers from a lot of damp, in fact, they didn't really, a lot of cases, build far enough down for the foundations, right? So they had to be pulled down anyway, and especially if a lot of this stuff went through some sort of cataclysm, which it did, because I made the video on what I showed you in Rome. I've got a few images at the end. I will play some images because this topic does hold some water. I just see a lot of people knocking out videos, 3 videos a day, you know, where they're making a lot of mistakes and these mistakes never get addressed. Well, if you like that, ladies and gentlemen, and you want to help the channel moving forward, you can press on the link in a pinned comment, which will be in every video from now on. Thank you.